Hello and welcome to the Wow Chaingang. I am not on a bike tonight. As you can see, I'm in the studio and I am going to be watching all of the action tonight rather than having that funny little yellow beacon over my head. And joining me in the studio is the one and only Matt Payne.
Hello. I'm here in the studio as well. Yeah, I only get a little box today because it's not really... I'm not important today. I'm pressing knobs and faders
We've put
today.
you in a box.
I know, it's situation normal, really. I'm in a bit of a box. It's usually when I'm on Zwift. I'm in a bit of a box and suffering, but looking forward to tonight. And, nice to have shared duties, which is good.
I know. Well, let's get those shared duties underway, Matt, because obviously we can see that everybody down in the starting pen. We need you to tell them where they're going.
Tell you what, let's do that. Let's head out to the route. So, as you can see, the route just up here is in 2D and 3D, courtesy of our great friends at Velo Viewer, because they are one of the key supporters, have been of the Donny Chaingang and now of the Wow Chaingang. We're going to the Volcano After Party. Now, this is essentially a series of laps, 3 laps around the base of the volcano. No prizes for guessing that the volcano part is that spiralling ascent that takes you up into the clouds and up towards the lava, and that is where things are likely to get really, really hot indeed. But 3 laps, and we're going to be heading around 36 kilometres of ride before we really go up onto those slopes. We do go through the main part of the volcano first, so really interesting. Great to see that we've got Izzy Torrey and Pip Mom. I'm sure Izzy will be racing for that Volcano QOM arch, which is where the finish is, and then once we finish the route, heading down into what is essentially the warm down, and make sure you get the points on the way down the hill after.
Yeah, Izzy missed out in that 3-up sprint last week, but she's our yellow beacon tonight. So really looking forward to seeing how Izzy leads the Chaingang. So with our riders, Matt, lined up, this is the first after party of the season. We've had some pretty flat routes until now, and look at that. Away go our riders.
They do, and you can see that we have still got our standard avatar sat there. Nice to see that it's not going like anywhere at all. I think now that everybody's out, why don't we jump in with Izzy Torrey or Pip Mom? Pip Mom, there we go.
Look at that, so our yellow and red beacons out on the bikes already. Those chevrons over the top indicating where they are. Nice bunch rolling out nice and steady. Nobody left in the pen. Good to see some new names in here today, as well as what are becoming regulars for the season.
Indeed, and don't forget you can register, get all the links sent direct. You don't have to wait for them to come up onto the Zwift events page. They are coming out on registration. It's really easy. It doesn't cost you anything, even though the address is www.buytickets.at/full-speed events. They're free. They don't cost you anything, but it means we get you the links as soon as possible.
Yeah, it means they drop straight into your inbox. Now, let's not forget that we've got 30 minutes of late join. So if you're having technical issues on the start line, if you are having problems, if you get dropped because you've dropped your water bottle, you can drop out and drop back in, rejoin the event, and it will drop you right into the middle of the pack.
And that's really, really handy, particularly if, like me, you have a habit of dropping your phone whilst you're trying to select the right tunes, or that you're trying to message somebody whilst trying to stay on the group and then get dropped because you're not actually paying attention. Then definitely key to jump on board and jump out and jump back in again. It's, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. The aim of this is to have fun.
Completely and utterly. And it's to have fun regardless of what you're on the ride for tonight. Because I see Joe Blackman back in as well.
I think you did. I'm sure we'll be picking her up on the way through. Good to see that the tactic team look like they're here in support of their yellow beacon, Izzy Torrey. I mean, they've been working as a team, haven't they?
They have, and it's been really interesting to see what's been happening on the last few Wow Chaingangs with that tactic team actually working together. And I think, you know what, they even have planned tactics before they start.
Well, I would. Given who we've got on the race and on the ride, it does make a difference. One rider who was absolutely flying last week is going to be Rebecca Waterfield, who is here tucked in already on that pink Tron bike with the grey jersey just alongside. I think it's going to be Emma Gilbert. It looks like the Terminator on board as well, tucked in there in that same sort of area. But really key for me to make sure that you watch the riders and don't lose a wheel, because it does make a big difference, doesn't it? If you're hovering around the back of the pack, you let a gap go, it's difficult to get on now.
Oh, it is, because just the pace stays so high. You know what they're doing at the moment. I'm looking. Tracy is at 1.2 watts per kilo, but the pace is at 32 kilometres an hour. So if you are tucked nice and tight in that bunch, the bunch is motoring.
It is indeed. Now, looks like we have got one rider who is trying to squeeze to get back onto the group. I think this is definitely a case of jump out and jump back in on a late join. The numbers that you're doing, more than capable of staying in the bunch, but the pace and pack of the bunch are in there. So I'm sure Izzy, our yellow beacon, will be saying jump out and jump back in again. And this is going to be Njort Hagen. Hagen or Hagen? Hagen.
Hagen.
Hagen. There you go. I'm glad you know the pronunciation. Although you've been, I understand you've been learning a bit of Swedish.
I don't know why I've been learning a bit of Swedish, other than the fact that we have loads of Swedish riders.
Yeah, the World Championships. You've been
well, that's
swatting
true.
up on one of our riders' names at least.
Well, and Indonesian riders as well.
Have you been studying your Indonesian
I have
too?
been studying my Indonesian. I can't even get the word out. Indonesian family names.
All right, okay. And did you come to any conclusions?
Not really.
Okay.
Other than the fact they're quite exciting and
tongue twisters, which is what you want when you're doing high-speed commentary.
Exactly. Anyway, look at that. Izzy's picking it up, just putting the messages out there. Drop out, drop back in, and you'll get back in the group. So the group rolling really nicely in the underwater tunnels.
They are, and just taking a look at the groups, I think it's going to be Mary O'Shea. Good to see Mary back with us. Mary's been a regular on the Chaingang. The group's is rolling along nicely, and Mary doing a lot of the work, which is definitely not where I would be, I have to admit, given the people we've got on the ride.
Well, I have to say, as a yellow beacon, it's very lovely for somebody to be holding the pace at the front rather than you. So, Mary, well done. If you could come back next week when I'm yellow beacon again, that would be very helpful.
I think Emma's already trying to get out of half the duties of being yellow.
That is so untrue. I love being yellow. It's fabulous.
And if people want to be a beacon, what do they need to do?
Oh, if you fancy being a yellow beacon or a red beacon on the WOW Chaingang, drop me a message. You can find me at the WOW Facebook group. We've got a WOW Facebook group. So Women's Only Wednesday Chaingang, that Facebook group, you can find me there. Or you can find me elsewhere on Instagram, for example, at Biking Emma.
At Biking Emma on Instagram?
Yes.
Drop your message?
Yes.
Say, I want to be a red beacon?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Or even a yellow.
Or a yellow, yeah. Indeed, we've got plenty of people. And you don't think, is it necessary?
Is what necessary?
Is it necessary to be as fast as Izzy Torrey used to be the yellow beacon?
No, not at all.
How fast do you need to be?
You need to be able to ramp the pace to about 3.5 watts per kilo before you let it go. And you need to be able to hold that 3.5 watts per kilo for, let's say, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is completely your choice, because when you are yellow beacon, it is your decision what happens in the event. It is a ramped workout, so we roll out at 2 watts per kilo, and then that pace starts to ramp. The pace starts to ramp as far as you want it to go. Tracy Seeley, who's on the ride, I know she's ramped it to 4 watts per kilo before she's let it go. Other people let it go early, which means you don't have to ramp it as far, but you do need to ramp it up. So it is, you can choose what you do as yellow beacon. That is completely up to you. But you do need to hold, I would say, around 3.5 watts per kilo for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, if that's what you fancy doing.
I'm loving the fact that it's 4 watts per kilo if you called Emma Payne.
Yeah, I do like to take it up. A proper ramp before we go, because do you know what I love? I love it when people post their heart rates on the Facebook group afterwards, and to see whose maximum heart rate gets ticked. And I always get amazed by how high some people's heart rates go, just purely because I'm one of those people whose heart rate at about 182, I've gone pop and fallen off the bike.
Well, definitely don't want to do that, particularly as all of our riders are on the stream. So I'm sure at least one of our riders will be watching live. it is live streamed on the Full Speed Events YouTube channel. So if you put in Full Speed Events, and look at that, faster than a speeding bullet, he's already all over it. So Full Speed Events channel rather than the Donny Chaingang YouTube channel. With the WoW growing up, it's getting its own space now, and its own growing up, and it has changed, hasn't it, a little bit in terms of the ride, and it's evolved to work with the riders, hasn't it, that are on it. It's definitely a different feel to the WoW as was first set up. Because when it was first set up, it followed the DCG format very rigidly. But now it's kind of evolved to match the riders that we have on the WoW Chaingang rather than the WoW Donny Chaingang.
Yeah, one of the things I really loved about this is the fact that last season we brought in that concept of having different yellow beacons purely because, you know, I wasn't on a bike. I love being yellow beacon, as people will know, and but it was absolutely fantastic to see the whole season last year run by other riders volunteering to be yellow and red. So this change of yellow beacon, I think, has worked really well, and thank you to Izzy for joining us tonight and picking up the mantle.
And we've had a lot of people taking up the mantle and taking on the role. Tracy Seeley that we've got here, the Terminator 2.0. I mean, Tracy has been stitching together a lot of the rides outdoors. She's also, of course, stitching together a lot of the rides that are still part of the Donny Chaingang, the members only on a Tuesday as well. So one of those riders who's done that, and of course been a beacon on the WoW as well.
Yeah, and Tracy still gets attributed to one of my most favourite comments on the WoW Chaingang, being yellow beacon. Absolutely,
probably your favourite ever.
It probably is my favourite ever, and it probably is since we started even the Donny Chaingang. You know, buckle up your seats, put your tables back into the upright position.
Tables up, chairs in the upright position, buckle up.
When she first put that up, honestly, you know, when you just
I don't think anybody could chase
you
for
can't
laughing,
believe what you're reading, but absolutely, you're laughing so hard you really don't want to have to put your power down on the pedals.
Yep, definitely. So our riders all the way through, just focusing in on Tracy, 118 beats a minute, 73 revs per minute as we come in through the marina and over the bridge at the moment, and we're going to be taking this sweeping left-hand bend. This brings us up on to the climb towards the Italian villas. We'll take a left-hand turn, go through the villas almost, but as we just approach, we'll hit the waterfall, and we'll take the fountain, and take a left-hand turn and drop down onto the little run across on the road. It's a bit like heading for Holy Island, only it's going for the unholy volcano instead.
There you go. I once orienteered in a forest in Northumberland, and you could see Holy Island in the distance.
Is that your nearest claim to fame, to being to Holy Isle?
Yeah, I've never actually been to Holy Island, but
Have you
I saw
never
it
been?
in the distance. Yeah,
You've seen it in the distance?
I've seen it in the distance whilst orienteering in a forest. You know.
It's a very nice place to go. It does great mead.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, you would expect so. They've probably got thousands of years worth of practice.
Yes, it's great. It's probably where the Vikings went, really. It wasn't for any other motive like stealing slaves or gold or jewels or anything like that. It was actually all about the mead.
Booze.
They went for the booze. It was a booze cruise. That's what it was. It was a Viking booze cruise. That's why it got stuff. Oh,
the party's getting started.
Don't sing.
Well, no, I won't. I really won't.
Please
sing.
don't
Honestly,
sing.
everyone will get off their bike. Even the avatars would get off their bikes if I started to sing. But Yellow Beacon just calling that first ramp of the evening up to 2.5 watts per kilo.
So the riders on the way around the turns here, taking that tight right-hand turn onto the climb, and at the moment this group looking pretty smooth together, just called to go up to 2.5 watts per kilo, and that means that our fantastic beacon, that is Pip Mon, one of our regular riders. Pip, great to see Pip on board. He's going to be watching the back of this group like an absolute hawk. She's going to be keeping an eye on everyone. You can just see her just pinned at the back here, watching that back wheel of Nicholas Soden, waiting for those signs that people are just starting to struggle. Can't imagine Nicholas Soden struggling, to be honest, because she's an absolutely awesome rider.
Well, I know. She is an awesome rider, and she can put out some pace and hang on, and she's got an awful lot of grit and determination. But she is resplendent there on her Cannondale as she continues to push. A number of Trons out tonight for that after-party section. Really interesting bike choices.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the Tron?
No. Tron is the lazy person's bike.
Oh, that is so untrue.
It is.
It's
It's
not.
an absolutely lazy. It's the person who wants one bike that will do everything. It's the jack of all trades, but it's not a master of any. It's not the fastest bike uphill. It's not the fastest aero bike. It's not the fastest bike on a rolling course. It's not the fastest bike anywhere. It is, yet harsh but true, Joanne. It is the Tron bike. It's for those people who haven't been nerdy like me.
Yeah, for anybody
that's what I'm saying.
For anybody who's heard the Crosscast, they'll know Matt's phrase normally is, I don't mean to be controversial, but...
Yes, we recorded a new one as well. It was very good. It was entertaining.
Matt does mean to be controversial.
I'm not trying to be controversial. I do genuinely believe that if you do your homework, you can find a bike that suits what you want to do on the ride.
But it also depends.
So for example...
what level you're on.
It does depend on what level you're on, a little bit.
It
but
does.
A little, because you could get the Tron. If you get the Tron bike, I'm actually banging on them here. Hang on.
Oh
there
my
you are,
gosh.
banging on the desks, commentary desks. If you have a Tron, you have ridden enough meters of ascent to be on a level that means you can get a better bike to climb on, or a better bike to go on the flat on, or both, and the wheels to deal with that. So if you go for, let's have a little look, who's going to have a bike that I would have? What's Joe on today? Joe Blackburn usually has a smart bike. Here we go. So, really interesting choice here. So this is a great climbing bike we've got on here, with deep rims but not a disc, because Joe knows she can stay with the group until it gets spicy on the slopes of the volcano. So she's got a bike that will deal with that volcano, no problems at all, and put her in a position where she's not dragging that excess weight of a concept bike round. Pick the bike for the part of the race or the ride you were doing. If this was me on the WOW, then what I would need, I would actually be having a bike with a disc wheel in an aero front wheel.
Yeah, but that's because you want to stay with the group on the flat.
I would be struggling to stay with the group till the go. And at that point, that means that I would have a disc. Without a doubt, I would be going for a disc and an aero frame. Joe Lee's great example here. That would probably be almost my bike of choice there.
Wow.
Potentially a Cervelo frame with, if I was on level 43, that has to be on level 43,
my gosh.
you would have to have the DT DI cut disc wheels, because they're lighter as well. So they would be good for the little bumps up. But you can see here, there's lots of lightweight frames. The Roval wheels in here. We're seeing lightweight frames across the board.
Shall I give you a little bit of an insight into the final climb? Because it's not actually that steep, and there are a number of sections on the final climb where you can draft.
You can
Now,
draft.
you can
draft.
Oh, now the Yorkshireman's going to have a bit of a go at the southern woman's accent.
No, it's okay. I do say draft as well.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Whilst we
Love
argue about potatoes and potatoes in the commentary box,
Go on,
hopefully
give us a
everyone's having a
description.
good ride.
Yeah, give us a description of this climb. Let's tell you what. We're going to do a little bit of munching. You're going to have to just put up with the fact that I'm going to be smirking in high def, and Emma's going to be greyed out here. Let's just pull the route up here, Emma. So when we look at the route, and when we look right up there at that end section of the climb, 36k to 40k, that is going to be where, that's the bit you're talking about. It's not your average climb, is it?
No, because you come into it and there's a gentle gradient to start, and then you come onto that first little yellow bit, then you've got a big flatter section, and then as you go up the climb, there are again multiple little smaller sections where the gradient completely
They
comes
have like
off.
landings and platforms.
It does, like landings and platforms.
Oh, right, okay,
Yeah,
so
it's
like
like
set
a landing and
stairs.
a platform. So it's
Okay.
like you go up, you stop, you go up, you stop. Well, you don't actually stop, but it's flatter.
Okay.
And hence actually how you ride. And the really steep part of this climb is right at the top. Literally, you are within sight of the finish line, and it kicks like a so-and-so. So it really is an after-party with a sting in its tail.
Kicks like a donkey stung by a bee.
Oh, if you want to put it that way, yes.
Well, you could have like a cart horse stung by a wasp, but
Or a GSP stung by 3 bees.
he just runs around yelping like an idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of widgets, I'm going to be off the screen now, so you can watch the riders instead. Okay, let's go back to our riders here on the Wow Chaingang. We're back in.
We are indeed back in with our riders.
And we're going to go in. Let's have a little look. We're just watching Izzy, our yellow beacon at the moment, just keeping an eye on everybody. This section of route, Emma, we've come down off the top, down the gravel. The group's all together at the moment. Nobody's having a bad time. Everybody's rocking along. But we're going to do this tight right-hand turn, and this for me is one of the key parts of the course, which is on the laps, because it's really the first time you get a bit of a stinging kick, but it's short and everybody tends to squeeze up here.
Yeah, they do indeed. It is short, but you stay together. I'm just laughing about the fact that there's going to be Prosecco at the top of the climb. Now, you know, keeping a trend going here, I was on the Prosecco last night, not tonight.
Were you?
Yeah, I was indeed. I was on the bubbles.
Were you on? I didn't think you were on Prosecco. I thought you were on something else.
Oh no, I had some bubbles last night here in France. But
yeah,
it was good. But they're lining them up for the finish.
Yeah.
A bottle each with a straw, Izzy. Everybody needs their own coloured straw. A straw, pretty much like a Tron bike. Get to pick your own colour, stick it in your bottle, and away you go.
Probably a little bit too much insight into how trolleyed you were last night.
Well, you know, when in France, I suppose back in the UK, I did not have a drink for 7 weeks, and then I come to France, you just cannot resist a bottle of wine.
Have you not had a drink for 7 hours?
Now? Yeah, maybe.
Just.
Yeah, but take a look. This is an interesting little section. So this is a little push here, just a little push up and round the corner into the volcano itself. Now, I always think there's a nasty little kick in there.
It is, and I like that section because it means if you're on pre-3Gs, you've got to squeeze if you're at the back, and at the front it's about easing off, and it's feeling how the group's going. When you go at it when you're in a race, that is a wonderful place to put power down. And everybody does it, and it's about maximum power though. It's not about watts per kilo, because it's not long enough really for watts per kilo to take effect. So it does make a difference, I think.
Yeah.
But looks at the moment like the group about to come back together. We're just on the inclines, and we're going to be coming in to the volcano itself, into that Tolkien-esque interior of the volcano.
The Tolkien-esque interior.
It is quite Tolkien-esque, yeah. It's a bit like Mount Doom, basically, on Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
because
I hated Lord of the Rings. I couldn't even. I tried to read that book about 8 times over the course of my 50 years, and never once have I got very far into it.
you just got no imagination.
I've
You
always
can't
thought
visualise it,
it's something I should really read, and I've tried and tried and tried, and no, not for me. So if
Well,
Lord
I'll tell
of
you
the
what,
Rings,
you stick to your Enid Blyton, and I'll carry on with Lord of the Rings.
If Lord of the Rings isn't for you, take a look at the Volcano of Doom.
Actually, to be fair to you, it's not going to be Enid Blyton. It's going to be the complete works of Shakespeare or something.
I have read the complete works of Shakespeare.
Have you?
I have.
You see, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Oh, and
Whoa!
Emma.
Look at that.
Look at that. You see, they agree with me as well. But I have indeed read the complete works of Shakespeare. I did it when I was a student in my summer holidays when I was temping as a receptionist.
And there was not a lot to do, I guess.
There was only about 5 phone calls an hour.
Wow. Okay. I haven't read the entire works of Shakespeare at all. Not going to happen. A lot, but not the entire works. So that would be way too much. Okay. We're about to come past the work of the devil himself, and speaking of infernos and Mount Doom, it is the left-hand turn. We're not going to say, because that is the evilness that is the climb portal. Takes you onto a climb, as I said last week, and I have yet to start the petition for the descent portal, not the climb portal, as we go round. So we're going to dodge that not like a dose of long COVID, and take a left-hand turn over onto the glass bridge. You see, I can be posh, even though I'm from Yorkshire, onto the glass bridge. And interestingly, you notice there's a bit more foliage on the trees at the moment in Zwift.
No, that's because autumn hasn't hit. Actually, I think it's because they're palm trees.
Yeah, but I don't remember. Maybe I've been too focused on the riders before, not having the coke on all the time. But the palm trees around there, I don't remember there being quite as many.
Really?
I mean, yeah, or maybe quite. But got to remember that Zwift's foliage, the flora and fauna around the area increase in size, and they do grow.
Well,
they do mature and grow, and they have been since the start of the world's back in 2014.
Well, there you go, in which case they've been growing for nearly 10 years now, and of course the trees are bigger.
Isn't that scary? I wonder what they're going to do for the 10th year anniversary.
Well, that is a good question. We're going to have a big wow after party.
Are we?
Well, why not?
There seems to be a lot of partying going on.
Well, you know, it's Wednesday. Why would you not party on a Wednesday?
Well, true. It is a school night for some.
That is very true.
Like me. I'm going to be here tomorrow on the Donny Chaingang.
Well,
open to everybody. Jump on, do a double day. Do one ride every.
I bet Tracy's going to be on the Chaingang tomorrow night.
Tracy Seeley cannot help herself. She's literally addicted to going on chain gangs and on Zwift. In fact, I think now she's reached a stage where if it isn't 30 miles long on Zwift, it isn't worth doing. It's true.
Well, I was about to say, we're not 30 miles tonight. We are 40 kilometres.
Which is 25, but I bet you when you look at Tracy's Strava, it says 30 miles plus. I will guarantee it.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, doing a bit more. Or having a bit of a warm-up. By the time you had the warm-up in, to be honest, quite a lot of people, if people have done a warm-up, then they'll be in there. Right, on the way down to downtown Watopia. The seedy side of Watopia's town. It's like Blackpool but posh. As it makes its way down, the group is all stuck nicely together. You can tell I'm not a fan of. In fact, I'm about as much a fan of Blackpool as I am of Tron Bikes, to be honest. Having worked there, so descending down. If you're from Blackpool, I'm not apologising. I've been there enough times to know. So we make our way down towards the banner here, whilst I try not to upset anybody else on the ride before we get to at least the volcano. Emma, I've got to say, the group is looking pretty smooth. They're quite quiet tonight.
They are not very chatty at all this evening, are they? I think, like you say, it's a school night.
Do you think they're nervous?
Well, maybe they don't know whether Izzy's going to go long or short.
About 5'2".
No, I don't mean that. Look at that. Izzy's got the right idea, you know. You've got to earn your Prosecco, you've got to earn your cake, you've got to ramp it up to 3 watts per kilo. Joe's so excited for her Prosecco, she'd probably take a 4 watts per kilo ramp as well.
Can I break that? I'm not going to offend anybody before the volcano. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. That's teed it up nicely. No, I won't.
No.
Joe knows I'm a fan of Joe and the whole team at the Barcode Warehouse, some people who support the sport of cycling and events in and around the area. The Newark Crit, absolutely great atmosphere, great place to be. Make sure you get yourself down. And I love the fact that Izzy's talking about herself there. You know, it's like... Yeah.
She's not made her mind up yet.
No, but that's the whole point, isn't it? I mean, I get asked so many times, when will it happen? We don't know. It depends on how you ride it. It depends on how you feel. It depends on how the yellow's feeling and what they want to achieve. And there's so many variables, and that means that the person who calls it is the person who's yellow. It's one of the great things, and that's what gives it its variety. It's what also means that people can adjust. Yeah, Emma Gilbert, there was indeed plenty of Prosecco at Newark. I know.
And there were those seriously cute umbrellas across the sky. They were lovely.
They were. Maybe that's what Zwift will do for the 10th year anniversary.
I liked those.
Do you think we're waffling enough to keep people's minds off the fact that it's moving on a bit?
Yeah, but Izzy, the riders weren't allowed to drink every lap.
No, it wasn't.
Could you imagine that? If you've 54 laps of the crit in an hour and you've got to have a glass of Prosecco every lap.
So much material. Why did I say I wasn't going to offend anybody before we hit the volcano? Just
That's
no.
like, why did I hand Emma some headphones this evening and a microphone?
I didn't hand you anything. You took them.
I commandeered the studio today.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just going to sit in the corner and twiddle with my knobs and favours.
No. The world's gone quiet. I think this is the longest I've ever heard Matt quiet in the studio.
I'm just going to say nobody's going to hear you because the microphone's set too low. Seriously,
he couldn't help himself.
You were whispering. Whispering into the microphone.
I know.
You've got to do a stage whisper. Not a real whisper. A stage whisper. Didn't you go to stage school, lovey?
No, darling, I didn't.
I did, you know.
Oh, well, there we go.
Trained actor, you know me.
Oh, well. We should know more Shakespeare.
We did things like blooming Puss in Boots and Panto, not Shakespeare, believe me.
She's behind you.
Yeah.
There's nobody behind at the moment here, though, because our beacons are doing a great job.
I did want to sail down from the roof of the stage down onto the stage as part of the show, because I could do that. We put included in the show.
What? So they asked what skills you had, and then they included your skill set.
It was adapted theatre.
But so rather than climb the beanstalk, Jack abseiled down the beanstalk.
I wasn't good enough to have the lead role. I did go, but I will start with some very, quite well-known people.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Angela Griffin started on the same place.
There
as
you
me.
go.
There you go. No, that's where Emma goes. Who's Angela
No,
Griffin?
she was in one of those soap things, wasn't she?
And and also in a lot of other things as well. And some drama. Yeah.
Did you really go to stage school?
I did well.
Or just like an amateur dramatics thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Amdram.
It was like Amdram for kids, yeah. But it was touted as being a school so you learn the craft. Not sure what I learned.
There we go.
Other than
Now
it was
we know.
blooming hard work.
Now we know why Matt can rouse a crowd at a cycle crit race.
Yes.
He's playing to his audience.
That was.
He's been
Again,
trained,
you
darling.
at great audience.
He's been
Don't
trained,
start.
darling. Well, there we go.
Well, listen, I did know a commentator who didn't hesitate to tell you that he was BBC trained.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I love it.
No, he wasn't Lovey, he was a Brummie. Well, he wasn't, he was from Wolverhampton.
Well, should we not worry about them? Because
Yeah.
I'm more interested in what these guys are doing. It's looking like there's a nice tight bunch still. And noticing Izzy is moving towards the front of the pack, though.
We're towards the front of the pack. Okay, well, we're at 28.54. No, 28 minutes 56. So we're approaching half an hour of riding. We've got 15k under the wheels.
And we're up to 3 watts per kilo.
Well, we are or we're not?
Well, we are, but not really on the road at the moment.
We're kind of hovering no more than 3, and Emma Dooley's on the front at the moment. From the Fear, another squad, I've got to say, along with the Tactics squad, I really like that kit. Oh, and speaking of kit, must say, my co-host on the Crosscast, Neil from Gritty and Caroline from Gritty have just launched the new Gritty off-road team.
Oh, yes, cyclocross and mountain biking.
Off-road racing.
Excellent.
And having fun.
Yeah.
And they're up for people to apply by sending CV for sport and to join their team.
Yeah.
So if that is you, not only do Gritty support and have supported the Donny Chaingang since its inception and have been along since the start and have helped us with that, they've not only been at national level events supporting things like the short course mountain bike events, sponsoring podiums, giving away prizes and supporting the sport, they have also now launched a team. So it might appeal to you if you want to race off-road and you don't get yourself a team, or you want to go ride with people who have a similar mantra to you. If if you are into your sustainable apparel and having a minimum impact, then get in touch with Neil and Caroline at Gritty. Neil will almost certainly be on the Chaingang tomorrow, although whether he's able to respond to any messages generally depends on whether or not he's going for an easy spin his legs out part of his training session, because he's going for the World's Master Cyclocross.
Ah, well, that World Master
25
Cyclocross
days, I think.
is it, but it's not in the UK this year. It has been in the UK for the last couple of runs. This year, where is it, Matt?
Hamburg,
Germany.
I think, or Stuttgart. Ooh. I'm sure it's Hamburg. I don't know, I'm not on the mic, so kind of like it's gone by. I've been looking at the course and I know the organiser, Jens, but yes.
Well, Izzy Torrey is looking at the course at the moment because she's come to the front of the group and she's picked up the pace. She's sitting at 3 watts per kilo there, making sure nobody's slouching. Pip Morn covering the back there with Red Beacon, nicely hovering on the back. Fantastic job being done by both of our beacons at the moment.
I tell you what I'd like everybody to do. I'd like everybody who's on the ride tonight to tell at least one other person, get one other person, bring a friend. Bring a friend to the WoW Chaingang.
Not for next week.
Yeah, at some point during the season would do me, I'm not greedy.
I was just wondering, you know, when you specifically wanted the friendship extravaganza to take place.
Well, no, but if everybody bought one more rider, the bunch would be bigger. And that would mean that the people on the front would be working as hard, but the people at the back would be working less hard.
I don't know.
That would then mean that we would be more inclusive.
Well,
and we would have more riders and more bums on seats, which is great, you know. It's not like we charge for it. It's not making anything out of it. It just costs us a whole load of time and effort.
we love it. Don't grouch.
I'm not grouching.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking at this list of riders in front of me, and I'm thinking Nicola Soden's been well hidden at the back of that group for some time. You know, she's been drafting away like an absolute trooper and having a much easier ride than some of the others.
Izzy Toga, all her friends are here. Oh, Izzy, I'm sure you've got more friends than just those people on the ride. A lot of your friends, maybe, but I know you have more friends than that. Can't be on social media and us not know what's happening.
The bus is still empty, you're right, yeah. Pip, it's fantastic, really moving well tonight. In fact, I think the blobs have been moving well every Wednesday so far. We've had some really tight-knit groups, and a lot of riders staying in right until those magic 3 words, you know, so some fantastic riding been going on the Wow Chaingang on the Women's Only Wednesday. Well, Pip, Jo says she might be joining you shortly, but I think she'll be in for a while yet.
Oh, no, I can't say that, can I? Said everything I won't say anybody. Yeah, well, no, it's absolutely class act, is Jo, all joking aside, and it is going to be interesting. So lots of hill dwellers. Yeah, I think there are quite a lot of riders in here who ride hills well, and I think we've got what for me is to be really interesting. Jo Blackburn here. So when we get into the 3Gs, Jo Blackburn is frequently our fastest female rider on the
last season.
Donny Chaingang.
Oh right, okay. Last season she dominated at some of the rides.
And she did dominate some of these rides, but up against people like Sammy Stewart, then that was a bit more of an ask. And we did have some people coming along and absolutely walloping other people. I mean, we had people like Skinner, who was very strong. We had riders in here racing, so some of the teams from the Heidi Kjarts and Pro Noctis squad. We had riders coming in and riding very strongly, but I think at the moment Jo is consistently right up there. Never discount Angela Webster, could be in there. Got Rebecca Waterfield, who showed she was strong last week, but it was a different course last week in some ways, and yet in other ways it's very similar. And I think it's really interesting, Abby. You've chosen here a course that is like the grown-up version of the Richmond course we had last time.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. And what we've tried to do is with the courses, we've tried to.
You.
All right. Okay. What
Don't
I've tried to do with the courses, we started flat. So we had a couple of weeks of flat courses. Last week we were in Richmond for the Libby Hill after party, which is sort of a 2 to 3 minute climb at the end, but a flat course up until that point. We are here tonight. This is a 7 to 10 minute climb, depending upon, you know, how fast the front of the pack is moving.
Yep.
You know, so it's going to be really interesting to see. You know, next week we've got a very different course again. So we are trying to get something for everybody, and across the season we will have something for everybody, whether you are a sprinter, whether you are a hill climber, whether you like crits, whatever you like, there will be something for you.
But there is that sort of macro cycle, and the where you're basically running through building strength for a particular thing, and then change over to do something else. There's no point doing just shotgun, you know, scattered random courses. There is a plan behind it.
And if we did the same thing week in, week out, you wouldn't see that progression, you wouldn't see that development. But B, you might get a bit bored because the same people are the riders off the front because it suits a certain type of ride.
So when are we going on to the outdoors?
Well, I don't know. Christmas could be coming.
Oof. Have you really put it?
Just seen Matt's face in the studio as to whether, when and where, or if or how I've used the outdoors this season. No,
please no. I hope not. No, do Climber's Gambit's nice. I like Climber's Gambit. I think it's quite a nice one because you've got a 2-stage ascent. I think it's really tough, but still good. And I do like the fact one of the things that we do on the WOW is that we have courses like we had at RGV, where we go to the RGV and we finish at the balance sprint, instead of it just we're going to do 1 lap or 2 laps or 3 laps or 4 laps or 14 laps, that we go that we actually go part laps as well.
Yeah, we'll see what everyone's getting for Christmas. But whether it's a trip up Alpe d'Huez or not, who knows? But we are running all the way through the season till the penultimate week in March. So the WOW will run every Wednesday right the way through to nearly the end of March.
Can I ask why we're not doing the end of March? I'm sure you probably told me in
because
my
we
old
started.
age,
Well, you know, when I was putting it
getting.
together, we started a week after the Donny Chaingang started, so we're going to finish a week before the Donny Chaingang finishes. It just some logic in my head when I was putting it together. Don't ask me what that logic was, but it seemed to make sense at the time.
It's the story of my life, that pretty
What
much.
things making sense at the time.
No idea what the logic was, but it made sense at the time, to be honest. Gov. Right, 20k coming up. We have waffled on enough. Let's talk about the riders. Let's have a little look at how our riders are going. Oh,
I did
hang on
indeed
a
have a
minute.
message. I've been chatting to Sally Stewart, actually.
Oh, right.
She is coming back on the Chaingang, on the WOW Chaingang
How is
later
her
this
recovery
month.
going?
It's good. She's got issues with work and fitting the WOW Chaingang in at the moment, but she has assured me, we were chatting the other day, I was seeing if she fancied being a yellow beacon. She is up for being a yellow beacon later on this month, and she will be back on the Chaingang then. So a number of our riders popping up. Great to see Joe Blackburn back on the WOW Chaingang tonight. Welcome to her first ride of the season. It's going to be really interesting to see how she's going. Strongly, I imagine. So the riders pulling, well, it's Izzy pulling. Izzy is pulling at the front still. She's making sure that pace is staying at 3 watts per kilo. We are nearly 40 minutes into the ride now. Yeah, it's very quiet at the moment. There must be a lot of people just chatting, just riding, just got their head down.
I think there is. I think there's quite a few people who have just got their head down and are just taking it easy. Interesting to see Foxy's on board.
Yeah.
Foxy's in here, and I was just going to say, what kit has Foxy got on tonight? Now, this is because Foxy is worse than Emma. If you ever go for a bike ride with Emma, or with my friend Ian, who's also very similar, he's from France actually, when you get to the start of the ride, and you get the bike out, the van, and you pull your bike out, and you go, right, put the kit on, right, I'm ready to go, you guarantee that Emma is choosing between her multitude of bits of kit that she has laying in the biggest kit bag in the world ever. So there'll be a discussion of about 15 minutes of, is it warm enough for arm warmers? Should I put knee warmers, leg warmers, ankle? Should I wear the pink, blue, green, purple? I don't want thick one, thin one, whatever. All because she's not sure whether it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too rainy, too sunny, too blowy, or whatever. Now, Emma has a lot of kit because of this indecision. Sorry, this key selection moment in every ride. Foxy has almost equally as many virtual outfits to ride and wears different ones on every ride.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know,
I
there's
just have 2 sets.
yeah, but you know, just because you're unlucky and you don't obviously, you know, think of the appeal of the kit you're in. Now you see, I have an AEO kit or in real life as well as on Zwift. I have a tactic kit that I've been wearing this summer. That's been nice and colourful. I do like a colourful kit. I quite like stripes, I quite like spots, and you know, there's nothing wrong with being fully equipped for whatever the weather.
You know skin's waterproof, right?
That's not the point. We are seeing the riders here just coming up out the saddles, the avatars, as they just start to kick off and take that left-hand turn. It is, I'm just laughing at Matt in the studio at the moment, moaning about my amount of kit. I have to say, I do struggle though. Should I have knee warmers or leg warmers? You know, there's nothing wrong with a decent amount of kit and some different colours to choose from.
I think I'm on a losing streak, whatever I say tonight, to be fair.
There's no such thing as winners and losers.
There is. You have a race winner, and then you have first loser, second
But you're
loser,
in a commentary
third loser.
box. How are you going to have a winner?
There
or
are
a
2
loser?
of us.
Yeah, but we're not having a race.
We're not.
Shall we go? Does that put me first over the line because I finished quickest?
No, because it was unintelligible.
Oh, okay.
We could put you up against Rich, one of our friends, who's also at BMX commentator. He is the BMX commentator for the UCI.
Now he can commentate fast.
So Rich is full on, and he does it in a Lancashire accent as well.
That would be because he's from Lancashire.
It is. He doesn't have to try and put in on Lancashire accents and
Wow.
talk like he's from Preston or Bolton, because he comes from Wigan.
Yay, so taking a look at that. So Tori is ramping it again. The group have just been together for too long, so it's going to 3.5 watts per kilo. So 3.5 watts per kilo is the call from our yellow beacon. She's pushing her way to the front to ensure that that pace is held as the riders are motoring through now the volcano. So as they continue to go through the pace, Rebecca Waterfield is coming to the front of the group, holding around 3 watts per kilo. They're hesitant to get to the front, Matt. They're hesitant to hold this pace because they really don't know what's about to happen. Well, they do know what's about to happen.
Well, I should hope they do.
It's only going to get harder. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to ramp up, and then at some point there'll be 3 Gs, 3 Os, and that together will mean that it is time that. So if you've not watched before, the format is we ramp it up. Our yellow beacon gets to call the 3 Gs and 3 Os. I'm not going to say it, but one of the words is go. And then it's repeated twice more. At that point, there are no rules. There are no limits. There is no suggestion that you have to race for the finish. Lots of people do. You don't have to ride to the finish, and the finish is a fixed point. Now, because we are on the volcano after party route, we are coming round to drop down to the downtown area where we set off from. We're going to come in and through once again, but when we come in and through, remember that when we get towards the end of the road, we go round the next loop, and we will end up eventually going up onto the volcano for the after party, and we finish at a fixed point. Now that is the arch and the volcano that is behind our riders at the moment, behind them on the big glass bridge. When the riders get round to the top, they don't disappear from sight, which is what happens when you hit the blue banner. Our riders will stay in the ride, and then, in theory, we'll be warming down, spinning the legs out, getting rid of that lactic acid. That's really key.
They'll also be going down the volcano climb.
I know, one of my favourite descents actually is that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There we go. Favourite descents on Zwift are us.
One of my favourite descents. Well, one of our good friends who, a person we introduced to Zwift, Simon Warren. He of the 100 Climbs fame. We actually got him to ride the Alpe d'Huez when it was launched on Zwift to match it up for an article for Cycling Weekly with the real thing and compare his ideas. Well, he's got 100 climbs books. 100 climbs in the Peak District, 100 climbs in your backyard.
100 climbs in Spain.
100 climbs in Spain, 100 climbs in France. Yeah. So maybe I should just do 100 descents.
Well, yeah, but I imagine he did do 100 descents to have done 100 climbs.
Possibly, but he didn't write about them.
Oh, that's very true, but writing about this at the moment, well, no one's writing about this at the moment because the group are all still together. There is no hammer going down anywhere. There's nobody being dropped off the back. This group are so tight tonight.
They are. It's quite cagey. And interesting, seeing those power-ups going down there. We've just seen quite a lot of power-ups going.
Well, I'm wondering whether that's people trying to get rid of their power-ups and see if they get another one through the arch, because everyone's banking on a feather, though. If you've got, why are we seeing a feather? I'd be holding on to that.
Depends who you are. Depends if you think you're going to be in, out, at the kill on the
that
climb,
is true.
or whether you're going to struggle to hold the pace when it ramps up again, and you want something like an aero to be able to get back onto the wheel.
That is true. Your desired item, obviously relating to how you want to use it.
I want a banana skin to appear.
What, to make someone slip and slide?
To spin, like on Mario Kart.
Yeah, but what use is that?
Because you'd throw it out and the bunch would all spin round and go off the road, and then you'd be left with
but that's like a computer game. That's making it even more computer
I hate to
game.
break it to you, this is not like
I know
outdoors.
it's a computer game. I know they're not all right, but you know what I mean.
They are all
you
real.
know what I mean. They're all real. They're all riding the bikes. They're all putting in a lot of effort. Why on earth would you want to put a banana skin underneath any
We've
of
got
them?
burritos.
Well,
Have you ever seen anybody throw a burrito down in the draft and magically disappear?
Well, look at that. As if by magic, a burrito goes down. It's not made them all spin round, though.
No. It has broken the draft behind, though. And that's really interesting because it is a very negative. I think it's really interesting. It's one of the very, very, very few negative pieces, the power-ups. Most of the power-ups are positive things that make you go quicker. They give you better
they give you a benefit.
They give you a benefit. I think it's very interesting. Feather for a ghost, no good for the bus. No.
A ghost definitely is no good for the bus because, well, actually, you know, you can try and fool people, but the red beacon will stay above your head even when you're ghosted.
It's an invisible bus.
You get an invisible bus. Oh my God, it's like riding on the Harry Potter bus.
Sorry, everybody.
Oh, Pip, do a ghost whilst you're on the bus and then everybody will think they're in Harry Potter. It's the night bus.
Anyway, back in the world of sanity, we're on the Donny Chaingang here. Well, I know, yeah. Ivory Towers and hallowed halls and all that. Right, on our way down, let's have a little look. Rebecca Waterfield, yeah, hope Zwift doesn't press the buttons for me this week. That was very interesting because the power went in at a very interesting time. Now, Rebecca swears blind it wasn't her and it was Zwift who did it, but that could just be some racing.
Oh, look at that. The yellow beacon calls it again. It's 4 watts per kilo.
Out. But people have got to deliver this, and this is where... So one of the differences we were talking earlier on about the WOW growing up, the WOW has evolved as it calls higher and higher watts per kilo, and that is where it does differ from things like the Donny Chaingang, which is run much more on feel and intuition, less on numbers. This is intuition and feel plus numbers.
Yeah, and I think for me that was, well, that's one of the things I like about it because you can... incrementally it can help you get better. So if you join for the first time and you know when you get to the 3 watts per kilo you're actually starting to get dropped and you're finding it hard to hang on to the group, then 6 weeks later you're getting to 3.5 watts per kilo before you're finding it hard to hang on the group. You know you're improving, you know you're progressing, and by having that specific ramp it ensures that we have something for everybody. And we have, you know, the Donny Chaingang has larger groups.
It does have a large group, and it does revolve in a very different way. I think one of your point there, just to go back to your point, because every course is different, because every route is different, having that fixed point is key. Now, in the routes that you're planning or you've got planned, is there a point at which you return to an old course?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So over the season, my current plan is that we do that on a couple of times. So not with all the courses, but with, well, 2 specific courses actually, but I won't tell you which they are. You have to guess by the end of the season. So 2 specific courses, I've ensured we do them more than once, so that there is a marker for people and that there is a decent gap between them, so people can think, well, last time I did this, I couldn't do Y. This time I've done it, I can do X.
Okay.
So yeah.
Excellent. We will see. Now, back of this group is starting to look a little bit more like we may see a bus forming. There may be some candidates for it. It might just be that everybody's just being very careful, trying to hide in the draft. The front of this group absolutely motoring on. We're seeing Izzy here winding it up. We're just up to 4, in fact.
Yeah, she's making sure the pace is on.
And this is really interesting because the group is still staying on here. So let's see if Izzy Torres got the beans today to carry this to the finish, because it is harder. I always think it's worth about 10 to 15% of your effort being a yellow beacon. That's what it sucks out of your life. We will see.
Yeah, well, I don't know about sucking it out of your life, but at this
it does.
At this point on the WOW, you do have to be on the front, exactly like Izzy is doing, because people will naturally be
conserving their energy.
Yes, that was the phrase I was looking for. And conserving their energy and waiting for it to happen. And if you really want the ramp to take place and you want to force the riders to ramp, you have to have someone setting the pace on the front, and often that falls to the yellow beacon.
It is a tough ride now. Here we go. Over the top goes Angela Webster, giving some assistance to Izzy Torres. Foxy moving right up there on the wheels. We may be starting to see potentially the first of our riders near the back. Good to see we've got Adele Suster in here.
Yeah.
Once again, and I'll tell you something, when we talk about progression, brilliant riding by Adele Suster. She's always improving.
Yeah, absolutely. She is indeed, and she's hanging on to the back of this bunch, but this bunch is starting to stretch now, and it's stretching because of that call from Torri, the yellow beacon, up to 4 watts per kilo. So take a look at that. That big bouncing ball of riders has now become more of a string.
It has, and we're just starting to see the split. So I'm loving Joe. Just refuel.
I know, she's got no energy
Refuel.
to come first serve.
And it is quite important, isn't it, to make sure that you are fueled, that you've got the right amount of energy on board, that you're not going to become dehydrated. You know, we all know that 2% dehydration, 20% performance loss.
Yeah, you do need a drink. You really, really do. You also need to think about what you eat during the day, because at this time of the evening, it's a bit of the, do I have dinner before? Do I have dinner afterwards? If I have been at work and I've come straight in from work and I haven't had, last time I had lunch was like at 12:30 and it's now 6:30. What do I do? How do I fuel?
And some people can eat on the bike and
Yes.
other people can't. I mean,
Yes.
I've always been lucky that I can eat non-stop on the bike whilst going absolutely flat out pretty much.
Yeah, watching
And
that balance a plate of spaghetti whilst riding a bike is hilarious.
I just not put on the turbo. I actually had reached the night that I could swallow half. You remember the old SIS bars?
Oh
the really
no,
big
that's
solid ones?
just gross.
I
now.
could swallow half
gross
of them.
moment alert.
Or you know, they used to do sort of like Go bars, like the Apple Go bars and stuff. They were like an energy
Yes,
bar.
I do know what you mean.
I could swallow one of those whole on the bike.
That is
chewing.
just disgusting. That is absolutely
We
disgusting.
got it in the system. I didn't need to chew it. I can still breathe.
Okay,
mates.
move on, please. Well,
It's a great party trick.
this group are moving on, you know, and I think the red bus is now starting to form. So Pip, Morn and Suster, the 2 riders now forming that red bus.
So making their way across the bridge on to the tarmac, on towards the climb. Now this is a tough little section because the pace is up, isn't it, Emma? And I mean, don't get me wrong, the bus is moving at
53 minutes it took for that bus to form.
And it's moving at 3 watts per kilo.
Yeah, and the yellow beacon called it 4 watts per kilo. So, oh my goodness, what an absolute effort from everybody tonight to stay in for so long.
Yeah, brilliant to see. And that bus is on, it's got nitrox, it hasn't got diesel in there, that is for sure. Today it's absolutely flying, but the gap has formed. You can see it as the riders come across the bridge. Oh, and it's go, 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 go!
Yeah, so Torri calls the go, 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 and away go the riders. The yellow beacon has called it from the front. She's pushing the power down herself. Black Bunny's responding, so is Tracy Seeley. Waterfield is there as well as Webster and Dooley. Everybody's fighting now for that wheel, and the wheel they're fighting for, well, that's the yellow beacons.
And this group is coming, it's coming through. It doesn't look like anybody quite being shed just yet. Remember, if you do get dropped, hold on, there will be people coming back. Helen from the AEO squad at the moment just starting to lose ground. The bus is coming at speed. It's blooming quick.
I know it's a speedy bus. It's not a bendy bus, it's a speedy bus.
It's like got its own, you know, spoiler on the back and for the downforce and a wing on the front. And it's got proper Grand Prix tyres tonight. And I think we're going to see riders come off quite quickly here because we've been at such a high pace for a long time.
Yeah.
We're seeing that with Mary Shea here. We've seen Lisa Elliott from Fear. We've got Helen, I think, from the AEO squad. We've got riders at the back here. Could be in trouble pretty quickly. And remember that this is not the final climb. This is not the volcano. This has gone on the climb up towards the Italian villas.
I know,
and
really
it rolls.
interesting. Really, really interesting place for the yellow beacon to call go, 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 because we can see that push, and it's really good, isn't it? Because we're seeing the group, a really big group still at the front, people really working hard to stay on. The pace is still around 4 watts per kilo on the front, but we are now seeing riders getting distance off the back, but the red bus, well, that is coming. It is sweeping fast behind.
It is, and I did see a message from Adele Suster saying, don't wait for me. I don't think anybody's waiting for you, to be honest. I get the impression that our red beacon's going, I'm hanging on to you. Oh, there we go. In fact, there we are.
Yeah.
It's absolutely blisteringly quick. Don't forget we've got that climb coming up. And we do say nobody rides alone.
No, they don't. They absolutely don't.
That was a great phrase that came off the gang the other day.
Yeah, nobody rides alone at all, and everybody is with each other in spirit as well. It doesn't matter whether you're the rider on the front or the rider at the back. Everybody is in this together, and in this together at the moment, we've got riders. Oh, look at that. Tori's just hanging back a little bit at the moment, but the riders we're expecting to see at the front of that group, I think we're seeing a bit of a push on the front. We're seeing a bit of a chase. It's Waterfield, it's Blackburn doing the chasing. Look at Seeley. Seeley is adamant she's having this. You know, she rode so well last week. She won that second group sprint last week after the three had gone off the front. I think she's adamant she's staying in today.
Doesn't want to be caught out as well. We know how strong Rebecca Waterfield is. We know that she's got the power and the pace, and this move is going to bring this group down.
Yeah.
Because it's just so quick. Look back at this bunch. They are coming. They're coming at speed. But Gilbert, Lee, O'Shea, Elliott, distanced off the back by the pace. Don't worry if your legs are dead, Joe, Emma.
Well, I'm
together,
not surprised at this pace, I tell you.
It's aggressive riding. It's aggressive racing. You know, it's not a race per se, but the Chaingang often ends up as one. In fact, always ends up as one. Let's face it. Absolutely flying down here, but they are working smooth. And this is about controlling the gap, not letting it go too big. And that's exactly what they've done. We've taken a look back here.
It's about keeping that pace on, keeping that pace high before the climb. And that is absolutely crucial to this. So this pace has been kept high by Waterfield all the way into this climb, and really interesting to see, Tori called this quite a way out with enough distance between the go and the bottom of the volcano to really work on the group, rather than let them fight it out over a very short period of time on the climb. This really is about what size group do you take into the climb, because we know there are some riders who can hold some really strong pace in this group, but the pace being really high at 4 watts per kilo and staying high after the go, well, that's really got to be playing on their legs now.
It has, and we're going to take the right-hand turn. So for those people who know the course well here or know Watopia well on Zwift, we're going to take the right-hand turn and we go up on to the climb. And we go through the volcano, taking the left-hand turn. We then do a left-hand turn up onto the outer slopes and over around the outside, diving back inside until we spiral our way into the centre. So we are now coming in to what was our last 2K. This is going to be really brutal. There's no other word for it, because this is a tough climb. It's stepped, it suits a punchy rider, it suits a climber. It's actually really a open climb for everybody.
Yeah, and it's a big group going in at the moment still. Taking a look at that, there's still 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 riders in the group. 2, 4.
There's at
9 riders at least in that group.
Yeah, I think there's 9 in there. Then we're into O'Shea in 10th place. She's not far off.
They're not far back,
And you know what? I think Mary O'Shea here, she's going to move. I'll put you money she's not 10th at the top. I'll put you money she's inside the top 10, because she's keeping a really good pace here, good consistent pace. It's going to depend on what happens with that group. That little kick over the top there, Soden, you see, is just been pushed to the back there, and that could be an indicator that she's going to be in trouble. Nicola Soden needs to move here. You can just see really winding this up at the moment, and she's going to try and get back onto the group, but the gap is there. You can see there's clear air in front of Soden. She's got to get into the draft. She's got to get onto the wheels. It has just eased back a touch. Really interesting. Soden gets back in. O'Shea's currently at about 8 seconds. It's not that far behind. 8, 9 seconds behind.
No, it's not, and it's coming down, I think.
It is. It yo-yos a little bit as we come through this. The magma at the side, I think, affects the timing computers.
Oh, it's all that electrical current, isn't it?
Yeah, come on, Emma. You might have been the head of the physics and maths department or engineering department of...
I'm a social scientist.
Social scientist.
I don't know anything about magna and volcanoes.
No, current you do. Current, you and baking, they're great.
Yeah, currents.
Yeah.
Raisins.
Yeah, there's a raisin for everything.
Yeah, sultanas to you.
Oh, dearie me. it's a good job we don't practice this. It was bad first time round if we'd made it to second time round. So we're on our way in through, and it looks to me, interesting. Now those are two things, two anvils.
Yeah, two anvils on this little descent here to bring them to the front of the group.
Gutting.
That's really interesting use of the power up there.
But where else are you going to use it? I mean, I've got to feel, Rebecca Waterfield, you are getting no look. Don't buy a lottery ticket because you were getting absolutely duff power-ups there. Last week it got triggered for you by forces unseen, and then you stitched for an anvil. In fact, I tell you what, I think you'll probably find that Tracy Seeley's just jealous because you've got an anvil and she hasn't.
Well, Waterfield is still covering the front. Dooley's been riding really strongly, you know. She's been on the front a lot, but no one is wanting to break this now before the climb, I don't think.
No, I just think people are going to hold tight until we take that left-hand turn up onto the slopes. Gap's opening behind Mary O'Shea at 14 seconds. It's 28 seconds from O'Shea.
This is a nice group.
Gilbert. Yeah, really interesting to see this group, and they're going to need to work together, and I think they're very similar in terms of their speed. So it's going to be O'Shea, Gilbert and Elliott. O'Shea, and then it's Gilbert, Elliott and Lee. Joan Lee tucked in there. Then it's 40 seconds back to Helen from AEO, who's going to see the red bus coming up at pace as well.
And that's a nice red bus, you know, it's going to be a nice group.
So the riders on the way to the climb. Let's see who has got the pace, who's got the power, who's got the speed, who is going to take this to the finish. Quick reminder, if you are watching, don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, you can press the live button and bring yourself right up to pace. It may be that your internet is buffering somewhat playing the game. We know ours is not. We're fortunate enough here to be in the middle of nowhere and yet have, well, I won't tell you how fast it is, but think thousands of meg. It is that quick.
Yeah, Matt is a bit of an internet geek.
Have to be.
Well, I know, it is part of the job, isn't it?
It is these days. Well, it is. If you can't do the take these days, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, part of this job at the moment is hanging on this group. And Izzy Torrey, I tell you, she's been having a quiet time at the back of that group as our yellow beacon.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think it's going to be really interesting now. Just a little message coming through further back from Helen Pittman and Dale's sister. They're going to make their way in. We're going to see how they start to work together and whether they keep it together on the climb. Just drop in with the group. Danger moment coming up.
Ba, 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 ba.
It's like the alarm's gone off. Waterfield's gone to the back.
Oh,
Waterfield's at the back. For how
Torrey's
long?
Moving up.
For how long? Here we go. Comes up onto the back now. Slingshot. Talk about slingshot. Slingshot through. Slingshots are what you have after you've had too many shots. A slingshot.
A slingshot through the pack.
Yes.
To take the draft from the group as you pick up pace.
And accelerate at high space. A bit like the moon, pinging round the moon to come back on Apollo 13. That's what they did there.
If you say so. They
slingshot.
Slingshot.
Yeah, they did a slingshot around the moon. So they used the gravitational force of the moon to take them in, accelerate round, and then come out the other side.
We're on the dark side of the moon at the moment.
We are a bit, but we're on the climb now.
Yep.
Here we go. And this is where things get interesting because we are now on to the climb. We're on to the ascent, the first of our ramps coming up, and it looks to me like the kick has come from Webster, who's taken them on to the climb. Moving up is Dooley from Fear. This is going to be interesting as the red bus picks up Helen from the AEO squad. I think we're going to see some serious numbers coming out. They've been putting them down all night long, and they are going to be doing the same as they come up onto the climb now. Blackburn comes alongside. I saw a 5.9 watts per kilo coming out of Joe Blackburn. Here she comes. This is going to be very interesting. Can anybody hold Blackburn's wheel? 6.2.
Oh,
What's
Tori's
the kilo?
coming.
The gap's open. Tori's going to try and close it down.
She's pushing. So Tori is pushing, but Blackburn's at 6. Blackburn is starting to get a gap. Tori is trying to go with her, and we saw her do that last year. She's put a feather in there, Tori, to try and close that down. Waterfield is there as well as Webster. Seeley is pushing on as well, and Dooley, but they're 2 seconds back now as Blackburn, Tori, Waterfield and Webster, well, they're the 4 at the front of the group.
Yeah, just don't split a little bit here. We're just still watching Waterfield answer that climb there. So 2 seconds is the gap. You can see great revs there coming out from Waterfield. 97 revs per minute, the pedal cadence really ticking up here. Webster sat in the wheels here. Really interesting, taking the pace of Waterfield. Great tactic, great move. Immediately behind is Tracy Seeley.
She's moved up, hasn't she?
And look at the gear that Seeley is pushing here. I mean, she's at 58 revs per minute. Seeley's doing a leg stay on the bike at the moment because that is a really low revs. That is forcing that round, and there is a limit to how long you can do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm the absolute favourite proponent of kicking on there.
The gradient is about to ease off a little for a short bit of respite before it kicks again.
And we've seen another gap go, another move on the front. Blackburn has kicked again, and she's got the gap now on Waterfield. Tori has gone pop. I think Tori is at 1.3 watts per kilo. She's yo-yoing behind Waterfield.
Look at her heart rate, 192.
Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Now, Blackburn on the front. Waterfield at 9 seconds. Can she hold on to that second place? Because you've got Tori, you've got Webster, Seeley, Dooley, Foxy, Clark, O'Shea, you've got Soden and Elliott all on this climb, with Lee and Gilbert on the climb as well. The bus is not that far behind
I tell you,
them.
it's not.
They're on the climb as well.
And a nice pace on the bus, you know.
Yes, you've got Helen from the Aeonian squad, you've got Adele Sousa, you've got Pip Morn on this climb, and the bus just making sure that everybody is rolling well. But let's go, take a run to the front. Look at Jo Blackburn go.
Well, we knew she was good. We knew she was great. We've seen her do this last season, and we saw Izzy Tori try week in, week out last season to work out how to beat her. And well, she's back with a vengeance this week as she continues to push on. Waterfield is the rider, 10 seconds back. Tori's now at 20 seconds. Dooley at 30. Tracy Seeley is on Dooley's wheel. You know, Webster is there as well. So that's 3 riders really close together. So Blackburn continues to push on this pace, holding 5 watts per kilo. We have seen her time trial away from the groups, whether it's been flat or whether it's been a climb. And it really is about how do you stop Jo Blackburn. But at the moment, there is no stopping her, however hard Waterfield is working behind.
Do you know what bike Jo Blackburn's on? Or rather, what bike she's not on? She's not on a Tron.
Matt is very smug in the studio at the moment, but you know.
Do you remember that Top Gear episode, or many Top Gear episodes, where Jeremy Clarkson pulls a smug face?
Yeah, Matt's pulling a smug face. If I had my camera handy, I'd take a picture.
You'd probably break the camera, I wouldn't.
It
It's
would, that
dangerous.
smugness.
The amount of smugness about the fact that it's not. But, I mean, in fairness, Jo Blackburn could be riding a shopping bike, and she's just going to be a phenomenal. One of my favourite books is actually one that I had as a child, and it's about the great buffer. And the moral of the story in the book, like most kids' books, they have a moral of the story. It's not about the bike.
I've heard
it's
that
about
before.
the rider.
Well, there you go, and the rider
It's
is showing us how it's done today is Jo Blackburn. She's got 15 seconds now on second place, who has 15 seconds on third. But one of the interesting things, Seeley is working her way through the field. Look at these 3 right the way across the road. So Tracy is there, Webster is there, Dooley is there. They are 6 seconds back on Tori. I think these 4 are going to come together.
I don't think you're wrong at all. Look at that from our helicopter shot down there. Tori, the yellow beacon, just in front of those 3 chasing riders. Very different styles here. Webster 80 revs per minute, Dooley at 87. Seeley Yeah, 1 rev a second, pretty much. It's like,
she's
you know,
really pushing a gear at
it's
the
a
moment, isn't
monster
she?
gear.
She's working that hugely
Get out that big
up
ring.
that climb. But the gradient now dropping down to a negative number. It's on a downhill at the moment. This is an opportunity, and they're grabbing it for recovery before it starts to kick again. They're on this boardwalk. It's about to start going again, and I tell you what, you need to jump in on that wheel because it's only 2% at the moment, so this section is draftable.
It is indeed, and I'll tell you something, Blackburn is flying. She's got 22 seconds, but Waterfield is still pushing a pace here. I don't think Rebecca Waterfield is going to see this group of 4 riders behind who are all together. You can see the amount of ascent that we have gained at the Portal of Doom down on the left-hand side of the riders, down at sea level. Going to be on the riders' right as we come through. You can see how far up we have ascended so far. Behind this group of 4, we have got Joe Clark, we've got Mary O'Shea, a little bit further back behind Foxy and Clark. Then we're going to be on to Nicola Soden, Lisa Elliott, Joanne Lee and Emma Gilbert, and Lisa Elliott in there. The bus, well, that's nicely ticking along here. 3 riders on the bus all together, moving well, so really good to see.
Well, it is really good to see, but up at the front, it is a masterclass from Joe Blackburn, and take a look at that. That is the finish line. That is the top of the volcano. The after party is over. The burners have been lit. It's Joe Blackburn who showed us how it's done. 7 minutes, 11 seconds up the volcano climb. We're going to drop back into Waterfield because I think she's going to be seeing that finish line in a very short while. But well done, Joe Blackburn. It's great to have you back on the Wow Chaingang.
So Waterfield making her way up. She chased Blackburn on the climb. She pushed hard, that figure making the way up. You can see how high we are. You get vertigo with that far up in the ascent, but coming up to that banner, it is a Rebecca Waterfield who takes a 2nd place here today on the Wow Chaingang.
Yeah, now we've got a fight on our hands for 3rd place because Webster, Torrey, Dooley and Tracy Seeley are all in the mix at the moment. Well, take a look at that. Webster's got a feather and she's held it. She's held that for a while, but Seeley is pushing on. Seeley's got a feather as well. Now, this is the power-up battle of 2 feathers on this steeper section now. It was indeed Tracy Seeley who lit that feather late. She lit that behind Webster, but Torrey is now trying to sprint up this climb. Absolutely fantastic as Seeley takes 3rd place. Webster takes 4. It's Torrey, the yellow beacon, coming in for 5, and Dooley coming in for Fear Racing in 6th place.
And it's going to be another battle behind because this could be between Foxy from Rave and Clark up here just in front. That banner comes into sight now. This is the critical moment. This is where you've got to be ready to push as Waterfield starts to descend towards that blue banner. She can't breathe. It's sucking the air on that downhill. I think Clark's going to have this. She saved that feather for the key moment. It's that kick in to the line. Clark is going to come across and she is going to take the 7th fastest time on climbing the 7th over the line. 8th place going to Foxy from the Rave squad there. 9 minutes 20. It's a tough old climb this. Nearly 10-minute climb for a total class riders up here. In fact, all our riders on the WOW are absolute class.
They are indeed. So the class absolutely showing on this climb today. Mary O'Shea is the next rider under the banner. And then we are going to head back, and I think it's going to be Joanne Lee's group that are in next.
So we're going to take a quick check on the climb. I'm not sure it's going to be Nicola Soden. Soden, I think, is just ahead
just
at
ahead.
the moment. So this is where it gets a little bit complicated. So the numbers that are in plus numbers are behind, the numbers in minus numbers are ahead. Nicola Soden on the way up here. Nicola, one of the real hard-working people in that tactic squad. Absolute pleasure every time we bump into Nicola. Out at the races, out at the various races she's racing. Really looking forward to the National Crit Series this year. Hoping to see the Tactics squad out there. Never know, we might see them out in France this year.
Well, you never know. That would be nice.
They've got an open invite.
Well, everybody on the WoW Chaingang has an open invite to France. So I'm going to have a party.
Can I just say that Joe Blackburn, when she comes, I'll do the party, you can do the rudder, and they've got no chance of staying with Joe Blurman.
Well, all I can
Don't
say
think anyone
is, great job being done by Izzy and Pip today. Absolutely fantastic ramp. Has given us a brilliant chain gang, and I'm loving the fact that those riders at the front, they even admit how hard it was.
Indeed. So we are going to drop in with the riders. We've just got to work our way back to our ascending riders and then work our way back up to Nicola Soden, who must be
there she is.
Fast approaching the summit. It's not going to be, in fact, she's on the
She's
summit
gone
top.
under and over.
She has indeed, super rocketing around the top. So
yeah,
Nicola Soden
Lee
over the top, then it's going to be Joe Lee,
They're
followed
already
by
up and
Emma
over.
Gilbert,
Emma
moving
Gilbert's
fast.
through. Yeah, and it's going to be Elliot coming through next. There we go. So Elliot from Fear coming towards that finish line. It is so cruel, this climb, because that steepest section is right before this banner. But that's it. She's up and through. She's got a warm down to do. And next, I think, is going to be our Red Beacon group.
Blimey, that is absolutely motoring. Foxy saying thanks to everybody who's on the chain gang. Lots going on there. Foxy, always welcome to give us a call, give us a chat, send a message, as are all our riders. If you need to talk, need to chat, we say
There's
this
always
on the
someone
chain
for you.
gang. There is always somebody for you. We would always much rather to chat and talk with all of our riders than find people that are having a hard time. The community that are part of the chain gangs, whether that is the Donny Chaingang or the WoW chain gang, are absolutely critical. A massive thank you to our beacons, but a big thank you to our riders. They do make the communities on both. On the way up to the climb, Adela Suster, along with Helen from AEO. And we have, of course, our Red Beacon going up. So let's watch our riders through. First of all, we're going to focus in on Helen, who's done a great job. She's going to come in just ahead, I think, of our Red Beacon. So well done to Helen from AEO. Well done to Adela Suster. Jolie looking for the Prosecco.
She's obviously gone past the Prosecco bus without noticing it.
Clearly, that was not like Joe. Right, got to say a massive well done to Pitmon. Great job on the fastest red bus in the world of Zwift. I was going to say in the west, but in Watopia.
Yes.
Basically,
in the wild west of Watopia.
In the wild west of Watopia, on the top of the mountain. That was a very fast bus. The rider's starting to descend down now.
Yeah, and Lisa, we've missed you too. Welcome back. Hopefully we're going to see you next week. So whilst everybody is on the final legs of their warm down, Matt, it leaves us to think about next week.
Next week? Oh, where we go next week?
Well, next week we are going to be in Paris, and I get the joyful job of leaving you in the studio on your own as I head back to Yellow Beacon duties. So yellow for me in Paris. We're sticking with the French theme because obviously we are in France at the moment, but it's been fantastic to be here with everybody in the studio rather than on my bike.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to be in as co-host with Emma hosting. Today, I'm going to leave you to it, Emma. So thank you very much for having me. Thank you, everybody on the WoW. It's always great to put words to the action. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Matt. It's been fantastic to be in the studio with you today. Well, that is it for today. That was the Women's Only Wednesday Chain Gang for the 8th of November. Jo Blackburn, well, she has shown us yet again that she can just ride away from a class field of women riders. We'll see you next week. We're heading to Paris. Join us at 6:15 GMT on your bike. Bring a friend. We'll see you then soon. Goodbye.